Good morning, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of these Mindful Monday Musings. I am Dee, and today I would like to talk to you about curiosity. Would you describe yourself as a curious person? Have you ever even really thought about it? I am a curious person, and I love thinking about how things work and asking questions about things and learning all kinds of new stuff. I just have a very curious and hungry mind. However, sometimes curiosity can cause us to have some interesting experiences in our lives. It can be very productive to be curious because actually, when you think about it, every single thing that is created on our planet has been created because someone was curious about what would happen if I developed this thing and put it out there for the world to use. And so there's so many different things, artwork and buildings and cups and cars and airplanes because someone had a curiosity about something. And most of the time, it is a very productive thing. However, I have realized recently in my own life that sometimes curiosity can have us to have some pretty interesting experiences. So, this is what I would like to discuss with you today because it just became very apparent to me that sometimes I push the boundaries of curiosity a little bit too hard. And what I mean by that is, sometimes I will get these little nudges, right? Some might call them red flags. I don't really like to look at it exactly that way, but we get these little nudges from spirit to, like pay attention and maybe this isn't the path that you would prefer to walk down. But or I, in this case, decided to explore it a little further, this particular situation in my life, which I'm not going to get into the details of it because it doesn't matter. It's just, I got these little nudges in the beginning. And because of the curiosity inside myself, I decided, I wonder what would happen if I just kind of push those to the side and explore this a little further. I wonder what'll happen and how this will play out. So I ignored them. And then I got more nudges later. And I was like, well, let me just allow this to play out because I'm curious about it. I'm curious to see what'll happen and in this particular situation. So I continued to allow it to play out until I got this really strong message that went absolutely against the core of my beliefs and my basic foundational beliefs inside my own personal life, right? We should all have those, or we do all have those if we think about it. Some of us do what we need to do to make those stronger so that we put up boundaries that allow us to live a more peaceful, fruitful life. And I do have these core boundaries that are really, really set up strongly now because I worked a lot towards that. But back to the curiosity piece. So I allowed myself to be curious about this situation and push it just a little bit further until I got this really loud message that went so against one of my core foundational building blocks of my life. And I was like, wow, that is so interesting. And I didn't feel bad about it or judge myself about it or anything because I'm in this really deep learning phase of my life right now where I'm just allowing all of this to come in so that I can learn all this stuff so I can navigate my future in a whole different way, right? A more powerful way for myself. So, um, I just was so fascinated by it. And then there had been an event that was scheduled previously, and that played out. And I was so curious about it. I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen and how it's going to go and all of that stuff. And it did, and it went, and I was like, huh. That's so interesting. And all it did for me was because I had no attachment to it whatsoever because I had already seen, right, where the curiosity was going to take me. and I saw that. So I had zero attachment to the unfoldment of the rest of it. So I looked at these things and I was like, that is so interesting. And for me, what it did was just go, hey, you see, and it just kind of underlined the points that I had already allowed myself to see and the ones that played out. And then I was listening. And then what I realized about myself is I've done this so many times in the past, right? This is a pattern, and this is what happens is these patterns keep coming around. It's like this cycle, right? They keep coming around. And it's not because we're being tested or anything like that. I really don't like that term, being tested by the universe. But they keep coming back around because it's like, hey, you've seen this before, right? What are you going to do with it this time? Are you going to handle it differently? Are you going to allow it to play out differently this time? What are you going to do with it? And I know some people are going, oh yeah, Dee, that's a test. Well, and if you look at it that way, that's cool. That's cool. I like to look at it as like I'm in school, right? And which isn't really my favorite term either, but we're all in this learning process, an evolution process, right? And that's so beautiful. And it just allowed me to look at this situation and go, wow, okay, I get it now. I get that this amazingly curious person, but next time, maybe I don't have to push it to that limit. Maybe I don't have to push it to that limit where I get that really like frictional note that happens that's like, hey, you didn't you ignored these other nudges, and now you're getting this friction that's really like uncomfortable. Maybe you don't have to take it that far next time. Maybe you can stop at the first initial curiosity about it and then not pursue that so that you don't get that friction that doesn't necessarily always feel very good. Especially when you have allowed yourself to build something up in your mind and think that it could be something that you really know in your soul that it's not meant to be. And that's okay because not everything is meant for you. And that's perfect. It's perfectly okay. You didn't do anything wrong or anything like that. I didn't do anything wrong. I just allowed myself to have this experience where I learned more about myself and about the experience that I can have with curiosity if I allow myself to pay attention to those gentler nudges in the beginning. So I just invite you today to explore the curiosity in your life, take a look at it, and maybe take a deeper look at it and see if you are like me and you like to push the boundaries of that curiosity that can get yourself into a situation that is um, maybe not exactly right for you. It's not something that's aligned with your soul, or maybe at least it's not aligned at this time in your life. Just, I invite you to take a look at the curiosity. And if you've had an experience like this, I totally invite you to drop a comment in the comment section below this video, ask a question. Let's continue this conversation because I find it so fascinating and I'm curious what you think about it. So let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of my world in this way. I love these mini conversations with you on Monday mornings, and I will continue to make these videos because I think they're fun and I hope you do too. I'm curious what you think. Let me know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. I love you all.